We're at the Wynn in Las Vegas for the third ever WPT World Championship Festival. It's my favorite time of the year. In the past, I've had my largest scores ever, receiving the majority of my six-figure payouts here. I've made some unforgettable memories playing with the biggest legends in the game. I've had some truly incredible moments en route to 2 top 100 finishes in the 10K championship with thousands of entries. The Wynn is where I final tabled the $50,000 buy-in while competing against the top players in the world. I'm hopeful there will be more magic for me this year. One of the marquee events taking place is today's $5 million free roll to promote ClubWPTGold.com, the brand new online poker site for US and Canadian players. It's an invite-only event. I gave out around 150 golden passports worth $2,500 each to those of you who signed up to the site using promo BRAD. It's time to see if we can turn our free entries into some real money. There's tons of excitement in the air, with the hallway being filled with potential winners consisting of a lot of people who have never played a live poker tournament before. Oh yeah, also during this event, ClubWPT Gold is giving away a McLaren for free. This is as cool as it gets. There are a lot of unique aspects of this tournament. The field is limited to 2,000 entries. The top 503 make the money with a min cash of $1,000. If you make the money, once you bust, you get to draw an envelope. 100 of them are filled with a seat to the $10,400 World Championship event. Once the field gets down to 297 players, mystery bounties kick in with two $100,000 bounties that'll be awarded. At the final table, there are some massive mystery bounties set aside, including one for $200,000. Then to spice things up, there's one bounty worth $0. The winner of the tournament will receive a first place payout of $1 million. I've never seen so much excitement in the air. Before the cards are dealt, there's a hype video that comes on in the room that I wasn't aware was going to be shown. It's cool that they included a clip of me fist pumping during a previous final table that I made. It makes me amped up to play my best today. With that being said, my good friend Kevin has made it to day 3 of the $1,100 Prime Championship event, which is taking place in the same room as the free roll. There were nearly 10,000 entrants in the Prime, and now only 99 remain. So I send him my run good since he's already in the money and has a decent shot at turning it into a life-changing score. Honestly, I'm pretty happy meeting tons of people face to face who've won a contest of mine and flown from all over the US and Canada to be here. We have different backgrounds with various levels of experience, but we all have one thing in common. We want to take home this check and the first place prize of $1 million. Everyone starts out with 25,000 in chips, and the levels are a half hour long. The entire poker world has been talking about this tournament for months. It's finally time to begin. Of course, Jungle Man is sitting at the next table over and has brought a flute, of all things.
It's pretty good, actually. Very nice.
One more song! One more song!
The tournament starts out pretty great. We hit runner-runner quad aces during one of the first few levels. We don't win a lot of chips, but I'm optimistic this is a sign of good things to come in this event. Not everyone is able to make it, so there are only 1,457 entries and over 500 make the money. We don't need to win too many big pots to turn our $0 entry into 1,000 or more, but I'm not going out of my way to avoid potentially lucrative situations. During level 8, we pick up ace-3 offsuit in the big blind. Our stack is dipped well below what we started with. Old school pro Andy Block jams for 14,000 from the button. Blinds are at 600, 1,200, so it's not a large shove. We have Andy just barely covered. I call knowing that Andy can have all kinds of worse hands than ace high when he shoves from late position. I'm content when I see that we're up against queen 4 suited. We're currently ahead. We just need to hold in order to essentially double up while knocking out one of the best players at the table. The flop comes 9-6 deuce rainbow. Neither of us have a pair or improved at all. Our ace high is still best. The turn is the 8 of diamonds. We're one step closer to knocking out a player who has a bracelet and over $5 million in career live earnings. Andy begins making an odd high-pitched noise to channel assistance from either aliens or beings from some other realm.
Nice hand, nice hand.
Andy drills the queen on the river to double up and leave us with only 2,000 in chips. We've got 1.5 big blinds. Whatever that noise was that he made, it worked. Big time. I'm knocking on death's door. To make things worse, we're in the small blind next hand and have to put in 600 before looking at our cards. After being forced to fold from the small blind, I get it in 2 hands later with king-queen offsuit against jack-8 suited for 1,400 effective. Remember, the blinds are 600, 1,200 with a big blind ante. There's 5,800 in the pot. If we win this, we more than quadruple up. I know it's looking bleak, but our tournament run isn't over. The flop comes king 6 deuce all clubs. We've got top pair and the clubs aren't a concern since neither of us have one. The turn is the king of hearts giving us trips and securing the quadruple up for us. All of a sudden, we've got 5 big blinds, which isn't exactly nothing. You may remember that I spun out 3 big blinds last vlog early on day 2 of the WPT Championship event to eventually make the money and have a big stack. I absolutely won't give up when I'm low, whether it's a free roll or a huge buy-in event. My goal is to win, and sometimes that requires battling from behind. The very next hand, we get it in for 5,400. Apparently, the previous pot, the small blind put in 200 instead of 600, so I was shorted some chips on accident, which happens from time to time. The button calls with a big stack. It's not something that I wanted to see. The situation is even worse as the button reveals that he called our shove with ace-9 of hearts. I get caught making a move because I wanted to take advantage of the fact that most of the players behind me were playing tight. We just happened to run into a hand that has us dominated when we ripped it in on the lighter side.
Very bad for me.
We've got queen 9 offsuit and we're going to need a lot of help. Andy Block got lucky against us with his queen high beating our ace high earlier. Now we need to pay it forward in order to survive. But we're in even worse shape because we can't pair our low card. The flop comes jack 8-5 with 2 clubs. We've at least got a gutter and a live backdoor flush draw, plus we can hit a queen. It's not a terrible flop for us. The turn is the deuce of hearts, destroying our dream of hitting runner clubs. To make things worse, our opponent picks up a heart draw. If we want to live to see another hand in this tournament, we're going to need to drill a non-heart 10 or queen. It's down to one final card. We're desperate. I'm going to try something right now that I've only seen one other player try, but it worked for him in that instance. Let's see if it can work for us. Yes! Okay. The opponent is named Ron Adams. He takes the bad beat really well. He still has the biggest stack at the table, so he's not too down about doubling us up. I'm happy with the outcome. We've gone from having 1,400 to now having almost 14,000. We've got 11.5 big blinds. It's still less than starting stack, but we're not going down a tunnel with a bright light at the end anymore. We can see some hands, and if we stay patient, maybe we can stick around for a while longer. We make it to the next break. Only 816 players remain. We need just 313 people to bust before we make the money. It's awesome that over a third of the field makes some cash. Because of that, a lot of people are playing to survive rather than playing to thrive. I don't blame them though. With blinds at 1,000, 1,500, we pick up ace-10 suited on the button. The cutoff open jams with a small stack of 7,000. I run our stack up to 22,000. I 3-bet rip it to isolate the opponent. No one else calls. It's down to heads up. The cutoff has ace-5 offsuit. We're a big favorite. If we can hold, well, more than what we started the day with for the first time in a few hours. The flop comes king 9-8 rainbow. It's safe. As long as the 5 doesn't come out, we'll be alright. The turn is the 7 of clubs, giving our opponent a gut shot straight draw that's no good. He still can only hit a 5. The river is the queen of clubs. Neither of us make a pair. Our ace-10 is best. The opponent is a viewer who takes the loss in stride.
Good luck, everybody. Good playing with y'all.
Nice pair, man.
Everyone's being nice to the player as he leaves. Then I hear a sarcastic remark from another player named Robert, who I've known for a long time.
I'm proud of you, Brad.
The reason Andy and I are laughing is because Robert, for some reason, has been coming after me all day with kind of snide remarks like these at the end of hands. This one isn't a big deal, and I literally try to laugh it off. But earlier, Robert made some really strange remarks that I've had a harder time letting slide. I was talking to someone else at the table about how being honest, sharing both good and bad times that I've had in my poker career has resonated with viewers, which is a big part of why the YouTube channel has done well. Robert chimed in saying, well, there's no way that you can value honesty or integrity. I was in disbelief and asked him what he was talking about. Robert continued saying, because of the friends you have, there's no way that you can value honesty or integrity. I was really caught off guard by this comment. I pride myself on being a good person in this industry and only stay friends with those who are the same. Robert then revealed the person that he was referring to, who runs a semi-private game in town, who I barely know, but have played poker with a handful of times. Apparently Robert thought that I was close friends with this individual based on me being friendly with him at the poker table when all 3 of us were in the same game together. It was a weird situation to be involved in, having someone question my values based on who he thought I was friends with, but I'm a WPT ambassador in a fun tournament. I'm trying my best not to let Robert's antics bother me too much, even though he's definitely getting under my skin with multiple comments like these seemingly every 15 to 20 minutes. I have a tournament to focus on though. In this hand, we're dealt Queen 9 suited in the hijack. I raised to 3,000. It's the third hand in a row that I've raised. I can tell that it's starting to annoy people that I'm being aggressive and have accumulated a lot of chips after being down to almost nothing. The button is Ron Adams, the guy we doubled up against with Queen 9 earlier when he had Ace 9 of hearts. Ron 3-bets to 5,500. It's an incredibly small re-raise. We don't have a great hand, but we can't fold for only 2,500 more. I call to see a flop, suspecting that we're dominated. The flop comes 995 rainbow. We flop trips. I check to the pre-flop aggressor. Ron down bets to 4,000. I'm not going to tip the strength of our hand just yet. We didn't start with a huge stack, and there's almost nothing on the board to be worried about. I call to set the trap. The turn is the deuce of spades. It's as blank as it gets. I check again. Ron doesn't disappoint us. He fires for 8,500. It's incredibly unlikely that Ron has us beat. My sense is that he's taking a stand with the big stack, trying to buy this one to send a message that he isn't going to let me run over the table. He's picked a bad time to do so. I call again, committing a large portion of our chips to the pot. For Ron, this should set off major alarm bells. The river is the 10 of clubs. As long as Ron doesn't have pocket 10s or 10-9 somehow, we should have the winner. If we check, I don't expect Ron to fire a third bullet because we've shown a lot of strength, calling a 3-bet pre-flop and 2 streets post-flop. There's 40,000 in the pot. I've only got 18,000 left. I don't think Ron would even value bet aces or kings. We can't allow this to check through. I lead for a small bet of 8,000, hoping that it'll look like a blocker bet. If the opponent has a 10 or an overpair, he's going to call for sure. If he has ace high or worse like I suspect, he may be tempted to jam for an additional 10,000, thinking the only reason that I bet was to name my price and I can possibly still fold with hopes of running a few big blinds up like I've already done once this tournament. Ron's handcuffed, he folds. It appears my intuition was correct, that he really didn't have anything. We get the win. Now our stack has climbed to 58,000. We've got over double what we started with as the field dwindles and we're getting closer and closer to the money bubble. Next we pick up pocket aces with blinds at 1,500, 3,000. We're 35 away from the money. Everyone's aware of it. Under the gun is a viewer with a sizable stack who won his way in after signing up with my code. He can fold into the money if he wants. He chooses another option and open jams for 82,000. He has us covered. I make the call for less. The opponent has pocket jiggities. If he's able to pull off the upset victory, we're going to get knocked out just before the money. There's an important time to hold. The flop comes 9-8 deuce with 2 diamonds. We're still in the lead. We need to avoid a jack or the opponent hitting runner flush or straight. Poker News comes over to film the action. Here's what their perspective looks like. The turn is the king of diamonds, giving the opponent a flush draw. The board is a lot more scary now. We're either going to have piles of chips with a great shot at making a deep run in the tournament, or we're about to have 0 and get knocked out just short of cashing. The river is the 4 of clubs. We get an enormous double up and a huge pot at a key moment in the event. I'm kind of shocked, thinking about how it wasn't that long ago when we were down to 1 big blind. Now, we're one of the top stacks. I try to help the dealer out and the opponent by quickly counting chips. Robert wasn't in the hand, but of course, he can't help finding something to get on to me about.
63. Robert, shut up, man. I'm tired of your shit today. 70,500.
I'm not particularly proud of this moment that I lose my cool, and Robert making another remark here isn't a big deal, but I'm still annoyed about his previous several remarks, mostly the one earlier questioning my values due to who he thought I was friends with. Robert and I have played together for years, and we've always been friendly, so I'm perplexed as to why he's been acting this way today. The Poker News clip ends here, but my footage extends a bit longer. 63, 68. Robert, shut up, man. I'm tired of your shit today. 70,500.
70,500 of you what?
I'm tired of you talking, man. Why are you? What is your problem today, man?
I never cared for bloggers, tell you the truth.
That's fine.
And I can say whatever I want.
We've got around 150,000. It's one of the biggest stacks, but it's hard to enjoy it with Robert and I getting into it. I explained to him that I came in as a stepdad to provide for 2 little girls and their mom, and now I have a son to take care of and be a role model for as well. I'm not going to sit there and take it when someone publicly questions my integrity and values when they're completely misinformed. Generally, Robert's a pretty good guy, and he eventually realizes that he made a mistake and actually thanks me for putting him in his place because he's aware that sometimes he gets a bit out of hand. We all have things that we can work on to be better. We exchange numbers, squashing any animosity. Robert apologizes for the way that he was behaving, which I appreciate. He offers to give me a discount on some Tiffany jewelry that he has that he was thinking that I might want to buy as Christmas gifts for my daughters. Once that debacle ends, it's time to focus again on the tournament. We're on the stone bubble, playing hand for hand with 504 players remaining. Very little time goes by before it bursts and all the players make the money, but almost equally important is the fact that if you bust out at this point, you have a 1 in 5 chance of pulling an envelope with a 10K seat to the WPT World Championship event, which begins tomorrow. Surviving to this portion of the event is basically worth an extra $2,000 in addition to the $1,000 payout that we're all guaranteed. We get dealt King 9 of clubs under the gun with a lot of short stacks all around. I'm in raised to 8,000. The big blind shoves for 17,000 total. I call for 9,000 more. We're up against Jiggities one more time. We don't have the advantage though. The flop comes ace 5-5 rainbow. No help to either of us. We're gonna need to hit one of 3 kings to eliminate the opponent. The turn is the 3 of spades. It doesn't change anything. The river is the 9 of diamonds, giving us a pair. It's just not good enough. Our opponent is able to hang on and get the double up. It isn't too big of a pot, so I'm not very concerned about the outcome. After being down to dust earlier, I feel like I'm free rolling the event, and it was already actually a free roll. Meanwhile, we're sitting right next to the podium where people draw the envelopes for the 10K seats after they bust out. The opponent who lost with pocket jacks against my aces ends up getting one, which is awesome. He got his golden passport after signing up using my code and hung on to barely make the money, but his patience paid off. Then, another familiar face pulls a 10K seat.
Second guy from our table. Shit, sorry.
Congratulations!
Nice job, dude. Yes. It's so cool to see all these people turn this opportunity into real cash and now 5-figure buy-ins as well. I can't help but keep emphasizing that I've never seen an event like this one. It's incredibly special. We're continuing to run our stack up. We've got 165,000 now. There's still so many amateurs left. There weren't a lot of professional players to start the day, but with just over 400 players still in the tournament, it's beginning to feel like we might be able to make a deep run. Lots of others who won golden passports using my code are still in the hunt as well. I'm rooting for every one of them too.
Hey, I'm Remy. We're playing out in Houston, Texas. We got in because we won the vlog competition and we're still live.
Let's go. Good luck.
Let's go. Thanks, bro.
With blinds at 3,000, 5,000, I get it in against a short stack for 33,000 effective, who shows up with pocket aces. We're dominated with ace-5 of spades. It isn't imperative for us to win this one, but I wouldn't mind taking it down to give the opponent an opportunity to draw for one of those 10K seats. The flop comes Jack-10 deuce with no spades to make it easy on the button.
No sweat. King?
We lose a chunk of chips as someone who's in need. Not too much harm is done. Only a small portion of our stack goes to the other side of the table. We're still in decent shape with an above average amount in front of us. As much as I'm interested in the event we're playing, I'm constantly keeping an eye on the Prime Championship that my buddy Kevin is still in with only 33 players left. The enormous payouts are coming up. Kevin has been in poker for a long time. He's had some nice runs with big payouts in the past, but it's been a little while since he's hit anything massive, and no one deserves a big score more than him, so I'm really hoping that he'll be able to at least make the final table to win an amount in the 6-figure range. It's so difficult to outlast over 9,000 players. You've got to make the most of these rare opportunities as they come up. Back in our event, we burst a new bubble. With 297 players left, the mystery bounties come into play. Each bounty is worth over 2,000 on average, which is more than the payout at this point, so it's incredibly important to go after those aggressively. The average stack is 122,000. We've got 151,000 in front of us with plenty of short stacks at our table. We're in a great situation to knock some people out and pull from the mystery bounty drum. Unfortunately, we lose Ron Adams, but he pulls a 10K seat on his way out. It seems like a blessing, but more buy-ins, more problems, at least in Ron's case.
The experience has been great. Like, playing in the Prime, this is one of the most well-run tournaments I've seen. I loved it. The win was fabulous. I got to stay here doing the players rate. That was cool. The only problem was, it was a week before I came out here that I won a seat to the golden seat. So I had to tell my wife I'm not coming home Wednesday. I'm coming home Friday at the latest. I didn't even tell her about the possibility of 10,000 C because I didn't want to pay for that. I didn't want to hear her. And now I got to call her and tell her I'm not coming home tonight. And if I make day 2, I'm not coming home till Wednesday. She is going to be livid. If I play this event and don't cash, I'm on the couch till Christmas. And I'm, for the trip, maybe down $200 after buy-ins and cash out. So, you know, hopefully I get there.
I'm not sure if we should be rooting for you in the 10K or not,
listen,
but
in the 10K though, listen, I'm live, so it's all good.
Nice,
so
dude. Nice playing with you, dude.
I have to win it.
You took some brutal beats.
I literally have to win it to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. You took some brutal beats today, so
yeah, 5 all.
But you made it. It was all worth it. Yeah,
that does suck, but that's good. At least one of them was the Brad, kept him in here. He goes all the way.
Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah.
It's sad to see Ron go. He took so many tough beats, including the one to us earlier that helped kickstart our spin up. He still does great to make the money as he put himself in a situation to pull the third 10K seat from our table. He absolutely makes the most of his trip to Las Vegas, only planning to play the 1100 Prime, but extending his stay to play multiple free entries into the most anticipated events of the year. I only hope that Mrs. Ron Adams goes easy on him. After our table breaks, I'm dealt ace-queen offsuit in the hijack at a new location. The cutoff has one of the largest stacks left in the tournament with $500,000 in chips. He calls. The button is a short stack. He 3-bet jams for $54,000. Remember, we're going to go hard after these bounties, particularly when there's so many players left and no meaningful pay jumps for a long time. I 4-bet shove to isolate the button. When the cutoff only calls my initial preflop raise, I doubt that he'll have ace-queen or better. We don't mind keeping the cutoff out so that we can potentially eliminate the button and pull an envelope giving us up to $100,000. The chance to knock out 2 players and pull 2 bounties is too enticing for the big stack in the cutoff. He calls our shove. The cutoff has ace-10 offsuit. The button's in the lead with ace-king suited. Our ace-queen isn't in great shape against ace-king, but we at least have the cutoff dominated. If we're able to win the side pot against ace-10, we'll have more chips than we started the hand with. The flop comes king 5-4 with 2 spades. Our ace-queen isn't likely to win the entire pot, but again, we mostly want to stay ahead of ace-10. The turn is another 4. We no longer have to worry about ace-10 hitting a spade flush. The river is the 7 of spades. We don't win everything in the middle, but we win a side pot of $194,000. We started the hand with $151,000, so we increase our stack by $43,000. It's a solid outcome. Luckily, the right opponent hit a pair, and our stack is still going in the right direction. Next, we're dealt pocket kings under the gun +1. I raise to $12,000. The hijack calls. The big blind also calls. We're going 3 ways to the flop. It comes king 10 deuce with 2 spades. We've got the absolute nuts hitting our first set of the day. The big blind checks. Both of our opponents have short stacks. It'd be great to knock out one or both of them to pull from the bounty drum. I make a small bet of $15,000. The hijack is going to make it more. He shoves for $90,000 total. The big blind folds. I call immediately. We turn over our set. The opponent has ace-8 of spades. He's got a flush draw with the backdoor straight draw. We're ahead. He's live though. This would be a nice time to win. The turn is the 7 of diamonds. It's no help to either of us. I'm sweating this river hard. The dealer puts out the 5 of diamonds. We retain the best possible hand on the river. We get the win, knock out a player, and now have a chance to pull a $100,000 bounty envelope. It's been 2 years since I pulled a mystery bounty, so I'm thrilled to do it today. I've only been at this new table for a short time, and I made the most of it.
Table change has been pretty good, eh?
Yeah.
Bad start.
Pretty sick. The very next hand, the big blind tries to double barrel bluff me with 9 high after I checked back ace-queen offsuit on the flop of a king-queen deuce-10 queen runout with 3 spades. Our stack increases to about $400,000. People at the table are impressed with how well I've done in the few hands that I've been here. If they only knew that I spun it up from 1 big blind earlier, they'd be even more surprised. We've got our mystery bounty receipt right here that I'm going to redeem when I get a moment, but I'm not done trying to accumulate chips yet. 10 minutes later, we're dealt ace-king offsuit on the button. Under the gun shoves for $17,000. Blinds have increased to $4,000, $8,000, so it's for about 2 big blinds. A player in middle position calls who's also relatively short. The cutoff calls as well, who has even fewer chips. This is teed up perfectly for us. I 3-bet jam in an attempt to get 1 or more bounties. It's too much for the middle position player and the cutoff. They both fold. We're heads up with the under the gun player. He ultimately reveals ace-3 offsuit. We've got a huge lead and an opportunity to win our second bounty of the day. The flop comes 9-7 deuce with 2 diamonds. It's not a bad one for us. The opponent has some backdoor draws that we don't have. That's it though. The turn is the 4 of spades. Now the opponent can make the wheel with a 5, and a 3 will keep him alive. We don't want to see a low card. The river is the 4 of clubs. It's low, but it's safe for us. We get the knockout, the pot, and one more bounty. We're collecting them. Our stack continues to grow as the number of players left is diminishing. We've made several pay jumps. Regardless of what happens from here, we've had an amazing time and turned 1,400 into 460,000. It's a very cool accomplishment. Plus, with several other short stacks at the table, we might be able to get more bounties soon. I'm going to be gunning for them. Not long after, we're dealt King-Jack suited in the cutoff. The middle position player open shoves for 30,000. It's less than 4 big blinds. Our hand is definitely worthy of getting it in there. I raise to 60,000 in order to isolate the player who's all in. No one else calls. We get to take half of our chips back. We're heads up. It turns out the opponent has pocket queens. The short stack woke up with a monster. We still should be able to come away with the win if we can hit a king. The flop comes 10-3 deuce with 2 clubs and only 1 spade. Our king is live. We've got some unlikely backdoor draws, but I'm not very optimistic. The turn is the ace of hearts, giving us 2 more outs. Let the opponent hit a set 1 time. The river is the 7 of clubs. We double up the opponent. Even if I knew he had queens, I'd have likely done the same thing because it was just such a small amount that we needed to put in there in order to have a chance at a bounty. We lose a very small portion of our chips. It doesn't hurt us too much. Here we're dealt ace-deuce suited in the cutoff with blinds at 5,000, 10,000. Things are heating up. The 3 stacks behind us are all short. The button has the most chips with 162,000 on our direct left. We have an ace which blocks a lot of the hands that our opponents might want to get it in with. And even if we get into an all-in situation for 16 big blinds maximum, we probably have around a 30% chance of winning the pot and getting a bounty. I open shove to put pressure on the opponents, looking to stick around and make pay jumps. The button doesn't immediately fold. He's the one that I wanted to get through the most. He calls, we're heads up. The button has the speed limit. We're up against another pocket pair, and again, only have 1 over. This is a much more significant pot than the last one. If we lose, we'll be okay, but it'd be way better if we win it. The flop comes queen 8-3 rainbow. We've got nothing except backdoor draws and an overcard. It's looking grim. The turn is the 7 of spades, an ace, and an ace only will give us the win. The river is the 9 of clubs. 5 cards come out that don't improve our hand at all. We lose the 5th pair. The button gets a huge double up. I lose a large chunk of my stack. I've lost nearly half of my chips from the high point. We're down to 264,000, which still isn't too bad. We have a few others covered, and that's an important component right now. In this one, we're dealt queen 9 suited in middle position. I raised to 20,000. The button only has 95,000 total. He 3-bet shoves. This is a close one, especially because I don't cover that many other players at our table anymore. This is one of the few chances that we have to get another bounty, and it's only 7.5 big blinds more for us to call. There's a decent chance that we're flipping or have 2 live cards. If we call and lose, we'll still have 17 big blinds. I tank call because the idea of getting an additional bounty is so alluring. The opponent shows that he has king-queen clubs. We're dominated again. We unfortunately don't have 2 live cards, but eventually we've got to win one of these situations in which we've got around 30% equity. The flop comes ace-10-4 with 2 diamonds. Suddenly, our equity jumps to 46%. We can hit any diamond or 9. We have 2 chances at it. The turn is another ace. That's not even the right color. We've got one last shot at hitting a flush or a pair of 9s. The river is the 5 of spades. We lose our 3rd all-in in a row. We got off to such a hot start at this table, but we've gone extremely cold. This ends up being the last hand before dinner break, which is something I'm looking forward to in order to reset. We see that there are only 145 players remaining. Right now, we're guaranteed 3,300. We've made a ton of pay jumps, but the payout structure is slow. We don't even make 10,000 or more until we get 17th, which is why it's nice that we got those bounties. While we're on break, I root my buddy Kevin on. He's in the zone and focused with a lot of chips and only 27 left in the prime. He's guaranteed 31,500. He's about to make a pay jump to 40,500. He's done an amazing job to make it this far. It looks like he's poised to last a lot longer. It's time for us to pull those mystery bounties now that there's a break in the action. Legendary Lodge commentator Skull Mike is still in the free roll as well. We've got similar stack sizes. He's nice enough to film me pulling the bounties. Future Poker Hall of Famer Matt Savage is on the mic announcing the mystery prize amounts. It takes me a little while to get the first envelope open, but eventually I do. we get $1,000. It's the second lowest prize amount in the drum. It's at least better than 500, which is the lowest prize. I reach into the drum for the second time. There's a lot of suspense as quite a few people are in line watching, and there are cameras filming each pull. Even my buddy Kevin is taking a break from his tournament to come over and see what I get.
How many chips we got, Kevin? 174,000.
Second bounty pull, second bounty pull. 1K richer, will he be 101K richer? Nice. 10K. Nice.
We managed to pull one of 4 10K bounties. There were 4 25Ks, 2 50Ks, and 2 100Ks, so this is one of the 12 best envelopes to pick. We're guaranteed to walk away with at least $14,000 at the moment. It's too bad that we couldn't have won one of those last 3 all-ins to get another shot at a 5 or 6 figure bounty, but the day has already been a big success and a lot of fun. We're gonna need help with only about 15 big blinds when we return though. Once we're back to the table, we pick up pocket sixes on the button. After going through the blinds a few times, our stack is shrunk to 113,000. We've got less than 10 big blinds. An aggressive player in middle position raises to 30,000. We're not gonna fold. We're too short to call and set mine. I 3-bet jam. We don't get snap called, which is a great sign. The opponent considers his options for a long time, factoring in how much each bounty is worth. Eventually he makes the call. I turn over our pocket sixes. The opponent has king 8 suited. We're a slight favorite. It's basically a flip though. If we don't win this one, we're out. We need the opponent to not make a pair. The whole flop doesn't even come before we get some bad news. The 8 comes right in the window. We're gonna need to improve. The entire flop is queen 8 deuce rainbow. We're down to 2 outs. Our run is finished. The turn is the ace of clubs. It's no help. Do we have any magic left in the tank? The river is the 10 of diamonds, ending it for us. We gave it our best, going from the shortest stack to one of the largest. Then after losing 4 all-ins in a row, we're down to 0. The fun isn't over though. We've already got these 1K and 10K bounties, but now we get to pull an envelope to see if we can get a free seat into the WPT World Championship event. Skull Mike busts out of the free roll at the same time as me and is about to pick an envelope for a seat himself. How are we feeling about the pull?
Next to you pull 10Ks all the time, so I'm feeling it.
Get him, dude.
Let's go.
Yeah?
All right, you feel like...
Come on, Mike.
All right, sending you good vibes.
Let's go.
Share with him?
Yeah. Ice cream sandwiches are on you if you win.
I like that. Very generous. For your sake, I will pull some winner.
Come on, Mike.
Oh, but the way he revealed it was so gentle. I'm sorry, but here you go. You got a lot of reasons to go celebrate. A lot of ice cream sandwiches you can buy with.
I guess there's 100 and...
We started with 100 winners and we're down to 16 seats. There were 500 envelopes total, so maybe you've got that 16th seat. Guess we're gonna find out.
Which is it on the front?
Yes, it'll be on the blue side.
Sorry, not a winner this time.
One of the most fun days poker I've ever played. I was down to 1 big blind, spun it up to over 500,000, pulled 2 bounties, got a 10K one. Unfortunately, couldn't draw a 10K seat, but overall won over 14,000 today on a free roll. Just a lot of people having the most fun they've ever had, including Skull Mike over here.
I had a little bit of fun.
You had fun. We had a great time. So this is just the start of the whole World Championship few weeks, and hopefully, you know, I've got some more deep runs, but that was awesome to get a 5-figure payday today. Even though I played for 12 hours, I'm still happy to stay at the property rooting Kevin on. He's in the 3 seat wearing the bluish hat. There are now only 16 players left, and he's guaranteed 52,000, but he's hungry for more. The knockouts are coming slowly. It's exciting when they happen as they're approaching the final table and six-figure scores. The initial plan was to play down to 6 players, but it's getting too late, so they revised it to play down to 9. Kevin has a big stack with 11 left. He's one knockout away from locking up $114,000. Kevin busts out the player in 11th to increase his stack and guarantee himself a 6-figure score. It's only his 3rd ever and the first one that he's had in over 12 years. He's had so many close calls in the past. Now he's set up to make a monster run. He sends everyone home when he knocks out the opponent in 10th place as well. They bag up for the night with the elimination. Kevin comes into day 4 and the final table is the commanding chip leader with over $1 million for first. He's in an incredible spot. The pay jumps from here occur with every knockout and they're all massive. This is one of my favorite days that I've ever had in poker. I told Kevin before it started that I'd gladly give him all my run good. It turns out Kevin makes the final table and I don't run bad myself. When you put good energy out there, it doesn't subtract good things from happening to you. Instead, it multiplies. I pivot my plan. Rather than playing day 1A of the 10K, I'm going to watch my buddy battle for the first $1 million score of his career. It's not every day that you get to watch someone you've known for 12 years at the final table with a phenomenal chance of winning 7 figures with 6 figures already locked up. I'm on the rail for the final table. I know a handful of guys who are still in. Justin Young, Ralph Marquez, and Zach Van Kuren are players that I'm secondarily rooting for. They're all in good spirits to have made it this far on the big stage at the live stream table. This is the second most prestigious event of the entire month. Kevin continues his final table right where he left off the night before. He picks up pocket aces when Justin Young has ace-king suited. They get it all in against each other without much hope for Justin to survive. The flop comes queen 4 deuce with 2 hearts. Justin's in need of a lot of help. The turn 7 ends it for him. Justin takes 9th place for $114,000. Kevin crosses the 100 million chip mark and expands his chip lead, giving everyone else a pay jump to $145,000. Zach goes on a tear and plays phenomenally to overtake Kevin as the chip leader, but they're both in great shape as a few other short stacks get knocked out and everyone's guaranteed $240,000. If one more player gets knocked out, everyone secures $320,000, so it's huge pay jumps for about 80 buy-ins or more going forward. Kevin's cruising, he's looking comfortable and having a lot of fun as it gets down to 5 players. Our friend group is here to support him. His girlfriend and brother got shirts made for all of us that say LFG Colenso with a picture of his face on it. We've got a couple of signs as well. Most of these guys were on my rail when I made my first televised final table a year and a half ago, including Kevin. I'm happy to return the favor. These types of moments don't happen all that often, so you want to try and soak them in when they occur. You can see it in Kevin's eyes as he looks towards us that it means a lot to have our group in his corner as he's made it to the final 5 out of a whopping 9,670 entry field. He's made it through 99.95% of everyone who played. Minimally, $320,000 is what he'll be walking away with, but he's got a great opportunity to make more. I'm rooting for him to win as much as if it were me in the seat.
Well, showing a balanced range here. Our camera crew now giving some love to the left side of the rail.
Brad Owen on Kevin's rail. He's a good friend of Kevin. One of his original friends from when he moved to Las Vegas. Probably really exciting for him to see Kevin doing so well. If anyone knows how hard Kevin works and how many hours he grinds at the poker table, it's Brad.
It's great to have world-class player and commentator Jesse Sylvia in the booth. He's also a good buddy of mine. With 5 left still, Kevin wakes up with ace-king suited and min raises to $4 million. The big blind James has a great hand and about 25 bigs. He 3-bet rips it. Kevin makes a snap call to get it in great. Ace-queen is at risk. He needs to hit a queen or the final table will be down to 4-handed. There's a huge moment in the tournament for a pot of nearly $100 million. Kevin's in great shape to take it down as almost everyone's out of their seats. The flop comes queen 8-4 with 2 spades. James' run may not be over yet. He takes the lead but isn't going to celebrate until he sees the whole run out. The turn is the 6 of spades, which doesn't change anything. James has a 93% chance of sticking around. The river is the 3 of spades, putting 4 spades on board, but no one's holding another one. James gets a gigantic double up. Kevin loses the majority of his stack and takes a devastating blow as he watches the opponent celebrate, getting a champagne bath at his rail. It's extremely difficult to recover from a beat like this. If ace-king held, Kevin would have locked up $420,000. Instead, he's now the second shortest stack. It's a brutal beat to take on a stage this big with so much money on the line, but Kevin isn't about to give in. He's used to battling back when facing adversity. I know watching Rocky movies motivates him. I'm trying to telepathically send the Rocky theme song into his head so that he can stay calm, assess the new situation that he's found himself in, and regroup. There's an all-in that takes place with Zach as the chip leader, getting it in with King 4 offsuit against Joseph, the short stack, who only started with 5 big blinds. Joseph needs the double up and is behind with Queen 9 offsuit. The flop comes 10-7 deuce with 2 clubs. Neither opponent makes a pair. There's some interesting turn cards that could come out. The dealer puts out the 7 of hearts, which isn't one of them. Only a queen or 9 will allow Joseph to stay alive. The river is the 10 of spades instead. Joseph gets eliminated in 5th place, but will walk away with $320,000. He's only 21 years old and gets an enormous payday. It's a tournament run and experience that he'll definitely never forget. The remaining players all make a mind-blowing $100,000 pay jump. Zach increases his chip lead and is running away with it, but Kevin benefits huge from the knockout after the only stack shorter than him is no longer in the picture. Kevin can start playing a lot freer with only 15 big blinds short-handed. After 2 minutes of playing four-handed, Kevin gets it all in with ace-queen offsuit against Zach's pocket kings. It's a terrible situation for Kevin as he only has 28% equity. Kevin has 14 big blinds and needed to make a move. It's just unfortunate timing. Zach has steamrolled everyone so far without any bumps in the road, already winning several all-ins. The flop comes 8-4 deuce rainbow. Kevin isn't able to hit an ace on the flop. He's got very little chance of survival. He knows it. Kevin lost against ace-queen earlier. Now it looks like it's going to put the nail in the coffin for him here. The turn is the ace of diamonds though. Kevin absolutely smashes it to be a 95% favorite and keep his dream alive of getting the 7-figure score. The river is the 6 of clubs, giving Kevin the double up. Kevin's still the short stack, but just barely. He's basically tied with Malik. They both have about 30 big blinds. 15 minutes later, Malik busts in 4th place after Zach flopped trips and Malik turned top 2 pair. It was a cooler that gives Kevin a $140,000 pay jump and guarantees that he'll be leaving here tonight with over $500,000. It really doesn't get much better than this when you've been playing poker for 20 years and are getting by far the biggest score of your life while the whole poker world is paying attention. Kevin took a tough beat with his ace-king, but has made $240,000 worth of pay jump since then. I know that he'd have been disappointed if he got anything worse than 5th after coming in as the chip leader. He's accomplished so much already today by making it to the final 3. He's the short stack though. He needs to make moves and run well. A long 3-handed battle ensues with a lot of back and forth before Kevin ultimately gets it in with Jack 10 suited against pocket 4s. He's only got 8 big blinds and the blinds are about to go up. He's a slight favorite, but he's in desperation mode. The flop comes 7-6-5 rainbow. Kevin doesn't flop a pair. 4s are still best with a pair below the board and an open-ended straight draw. The turn is the 3 of diamonds, giving James the straight. Kevin can't win outright and can only chop if one of the 2 remaining 4s comes out. The river is the 9 of hearts, ending a truly phenomenal run for one of my best friends in the game. The 2 remaining players are gracious in congratulating Kevin on his run. Playing poker for a living isn't easy. Kevin and I have seen each other both struggle at different times. He was there to witness me quit playing poker for a living back in 2012 before eventually returning to play full-time, and I've watched him as he's considered getting a normal job throughout different low points as well, but he's a true grinder and something always pulls us back in. Zach Van Kuren eventually takes it down. He played incredibly well. He's a young guy who already won a bracelet over summer. He earns the title of being the WPT Prime Championship winner and takes home over $1 million. He's going to be a formidable guy in the poker world for a long time. Congratulations to him and everyone else who made the final table. As for our group, we're ecstatic for our friend. We celebrate Kevin's tournament run and the biggest score of his career at a local Irish pub.
So, whenever you get a Scott Hall, whenever you get a Scott Hall.
Takes a sip before cheers.
I really do appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Jerry, thank you. Everything, I really wanted to win this after 20 years of playing poker. But honestly, getting third for 500 and whatever, 60,000 is still a win in my book. And we all play tournaments. We've all gone through like gritty lows. This is extreme high. I'm still kind of like out of it right now, but I feel very, very fortunate to be where I am. I'm very happy, and I really appreciate you guys showing up tonight. Come on. I wish I won the ace and a heart hand.
310.
Cheers.
That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. It helps out the channel a ton. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'm happy to get back to you. Don't forget to sign up to ClubWPTGold.com using promo BRAD. It's a brand new site for US and Canadian players, and it is fully launching this month. So we're doing meetup games starting January 20th for like 10 days. I'm gonna be on there playing as much as I can during that time. And also I'm giving away 10% of each cash game win that I have to someone who signs up to ClubWPT Gold using my bonus code. So I have more information in the description box below, but be sure to take advantage of that. I've got some wins for 2,700 and 3,700, so 10% of that is 270 and 370. That's gonna be going to somebody who signs up to the site, and it'll be deposited into their accounts. This was just such a cool episode. It was really one of the most fun days of poker, fun few days of poker that I've ever had. It was nice to win 5 figures in a free roll on a $0 investment, and then also to watch my buddy win over $500,000 was just something that's awesome. It's really cool to be able to celebrate friends' wins in poker, and there's no one that's more deserving of that than my buddy Kevin. Let's see, we've got a meetup game at the Lodge in Austin, Texas, February 17th. It'll be a low stakes one, so come out there if you can. That's gonna kick off the Lodge Championship Series, which is gonna take place, at the end of February and going into the March. I have more information in the description box below for that. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Good luck at the tables, and I'll see you next time.